So the human in the loop is essential.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So basically what we're saying is you can utilize AI, but it should be to amplify what you do, not to kind of replace you.
Totally. Because what I say is AI doesn't exist without HI, the human intelligence.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we're not building a human intelligence, if we allow it to dumb us down,
Yeah.
yeah, then AI is just another tool.
Mm.
If we can build the two together, because if we develop that cognitive process, fantastic.
So, Stephen, we are here at the Hello AI Collective Summit. What's the kind of biggest mistake you're seeing organizations make when it comes to AI?
It's funny, I'm going to be talking about that a bit later on. And that is literally about the fact that, you see, anything's easy when you know how.
Yeah.
And so people go, yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine with it. And you leave people behind, and then they become passive resistant.
Yeah, you definitely need to kind of bring people on that journey, don't you? And reassure them
Yeah.
because obviously, like a lot of people, Oracle let go 30,000 people last week. It's frightening to see what's happening in the world now. There's so many factors behind the Oracle thing that they've, put all that money into investing in data centers that are probably not going to happen, and they have to make cuts somewhere. And easiest one is obviously people.
And that's the thing. And so there's this whole fear in people's heads about this change, this massive change for people. So it's really say, okay, how do we get the people to do that? How do we move them with us as opposed to them passively resisting and finding ways that it won't work? And I think that's the real challenge for me is helping people to change their mind. You can't force them.
Yeah.
It's helping them to change their mindset.
Yeah. If you kind of had 60 seconds with a CEO, what would be your kind of key message to them?
I am going to be talking about it, but it's
like I read your mind.
It's about having purpose.
Yeah.
People work for organisations, any size of organisation, when they've got a sense of purpose. So if we lose track of that, if we just think that AI is coming in to take my job, I've lost my sense of purpose. Mm-hmm. But if I can look at, so as I said, I have to think, how do I keep my purpose? How do I protect that as an organisation, for an individual? If I can do that, then we can move with it and use all the benefits that AI we know can bring.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing, we mustn't lose sight of what's our purpose.
So the human in the loop is essential.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So basically what we're saying is you can utilize AI, but it should be to amplify what you do, not to kind of replace you.
Totally. Because what I say is AI doesn't exist without HI, the human intelligence.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
So if we're not building a human intelligence, if we allow it to dumb us down, then AI is just another tool. If we can build the two together, because if we develop that cognitive process, fantastic.
Excellent. Now, so can you tell us how did you kind of get into the AI space, or what's your journey? I know you're coming at it from a different perspective. You're not from a technical perspective.
Absolutely. I mean, me and tech are probably not closely aligned, I have to say. Mine is more so from the people side of things.
Yeah.
But obviously, my connection with Dan at Hello AI is I've known Dan for many years in all shapes and forms and everything else. And when he said, look, would you like to come along and talk about it? Because he knows that my side is the human side of things. I think fantastic, because one, I was really pleased for what he's achieved.
Oh, absolutely. Like, just my own story with Dan is, so essentially 11 months ago, Dan was a guest on the podcast.
Right.
We just kept in touch over LinkedIn. I've never met Dan until today.
Right.
And a couple of weeks ago, he reached out to me and said, do you want to come and record some podcasts? And he said, I've been watching you grow exponentially in the way that, so, we had some initial conversations when Hello AI didn't have a name, and he was asking me, what did I think of this and that? And we've just kept in touch. And we are now
here we are
sitting in the Emirates Stadium recording a podcast.
And that's the crazy thing, because when I met Dan a long time ago, his uncle asked me, could I have a word with Dan? Because Dan wanted a bit of guidance and a bit of advice. And here I am, seeing him standing on a stage at the home of his favourite football club, obviously not mine or yours.
Yeah, not our favourite football club, but we'll leave football and politics.
Okay, we'll leave that out. Yeah, but no, it's really good. But it's, for me, it's the human side, because it's dealing with change. Change is happening all the time, but I think it's also the speed of change. It's like, it's accelerating. The speed of change is accelerating all the time.
It is. I think we've gone. One of our previous guests, she leads AI at Cisco, and she was talking about how it's gone from, where we're kind of tinkering with AI. It's like, what can it do for businesses? What value it is? And as Dan said earlier, it's not about, some time savings. Business, you can't measure that with there's no ROI on time savings. That means I can go, maybe to the gym or go off and do something, So I think we've moved into like where businesses are very much looking at what AI delivers, not that, it's just a cool toy.
Yeah, exactly. I think Dan said, there's the sparkly bit, something nice, new and shiny.
Yeah.
It's what can it really bring, and how can it help the human side of what we're doing? I think that's the piece for me.
So you have a master's in applied positive psychology.
I certainly do.
And most organizations, when they look at AI, it's through training and tooling. But what happens when you frame it through psychology and behavior instead?
And that's the piece, because of understanding and really having empathy for those people. So somebody who's really techie and really knowledgeable starts talking to somebody who isn't so. Right. Understanding that person might not get it.
Yeah, that's true.
From a personal experience many years ago, when my first ever laptop, and it was a long time, first ever laptop, and I was really lost. I thought, well, I don't know how to use this. And the guy from the IT department was fantastic, because I said, I can't find any of my files. And and I'll never forget. He said, well, just imagine, it's like a big filing cabinet. All you've done is you've put it in the wrong drawer, and then look at that. And I still have that today. If you can simplify something,
yes,
you can take away the fear.
Well, I think that's obviously, and I'm from a tech background, but I've always been of the opinion that if you can't explain it in simple terms, you don't understand it.
Totally.
Yeah. And I think that's the big thing. Like, it's got to the stage where I'm pretty sure my parents even know what AI is at this stage, because it's just so widespread. Whereas if you ask what I did in end user computing, they might have a bit of a more difficult time. Yeah. He works with computers, I think, is the general response that my parents give to anyone who I talk to. Whereas, there's so many different nuances to it. So, as you said, different personalities, they respond to change differently. How do leadership teams, do that across an organization?
And it's on the Morse philosophy, and that came from positive psychology.
Yeah.
And it's looking at the different elements, and that's mindset, optimism, resilience, strengths, and empathy.
Okay.
So if I look, because we hear you've got to have a growth mindset, got to have a growth mindset.
Yeah.
It's not a club you're in or you're not in.
Yeah.
And I think it's being overly used.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're negative, so they haven't got a growth mindset. No, it's understanding, what does a growth mindset look like in that situation? Am I optimistic for the future? And resilience is one of the things I will talk about, is bouncing forward, not bouncing back. So when I'm learning something, I'm learning about AI every day. I look at it, I go, okay, but okay, I've learned from that. How do I go forward? Not everybody thinks resilience is bouncing back from it.
Yeah.
Dan has bounced forward.
Yes, absolutely.
Dan is a resilient character. Yeah. And we all have resilience within us. And so it's looking at, so as an organization, do I make it that people feel psychologically safe as well? There's another thing. Do I feel safe? So if I make mistakes, I don't feel stupid. I feel that people will listen to me, and I can go to somebody and say, hey, do you know what? How do I do this? Instead of saying, well, look at it online. There's a tutorial online, which is great for some people.
Yeah. Well, we all learn in different ways. Yeah. Like I very much, if you just put a training manual in front of me, I probably won't learn it. Whereas if it's visual, I will probably take it in a lot quicker. So it depends on the person.
And there's one thing from a training and all of this. There's a huge amount of knowledge out there,
Hmm.
but there ain't so much understanding.
No, I obviously I'm in the tech space, but I even get overwhelmed by the amount, and I'm like thinking like, am I behind, and that kind of thing. And I know I'm not, because I know I'm in the upper echelons, because you can look at something like LinkedIn and get sucked in to think that you're missing out and you're not at the cutting edge, when in fact I know I am, because I know where other people are. So you need that kind of self-awareness, I think, to kind of, you go at your pace. I think the main thing, and my kind of main takeaway when it comes to AI, just start using it. Just start. It can be for the simplest thing, but that's how you don't get left behind. You don't have to do it at anyone else's pace. You just figure out where is a good starting point for yourself.
Yeah, and that is, but feel safe with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just play with it and don't make it a monster. Some people start to AI this, AI that, and suddenly people start to become frightened. Of course they will, because they don't know what they don't know.
Well, Dan just even said earlier on, he said, don't implement AI across your entire organization.
No.
You pick the use cases. And I think that's what happens is, like, there's a stat going around. I think it's like 70% of AI projects fail. Because one, you don't have the metrics in place and figure out what it's going to, you just go, oh, we're implementing AI. Well, that's never going to work.
No.
So, you still have to have a business focus in this. It is a business project. It's not. And I think one of the other speakers, Rob, mentioned it. It's like, it shouldn't just be siloed in IT. And that's the mistake businesses make.
Yeah, and I think thinking about that whole change and how we all learn in different ways. You've got an Android phone.
Yeah.
I've got an Apple phone.
I could never go to Apple. I tried. One of the companies I worked for, they tried to get me to go to Apple. Actually, I had to go to Apple because that was company policy, because they felt it was more secure than Android. But I struggled.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's it. Because my mother-in-law, who's 90 next month, has an Android phone, which I help her with.
Yeah.
And I feel like at times she's having to show me what she wants done to it, because it's what we get comfortable with.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we get comfortable with certain ways of working as well.
Yeah.
And AI is disrupting all of that.
Yeah.
Because of the speed. That's the thing. I think that's the thing. This speed of change and being aware that not everybody moves at the same pace.
Yeah.
And sometimes organisations are, we want to go from A to B. Everybody go.
Yeah, but what I find with organizations is they want to go from A to Z, and they skip B, C, D, and then absolutely unmitigated disaster,
Yeah.
and they wonder why. And it's because you went. So you have to go with the pace that works for your organization.
And if you need to make different changes at different times, so that everybody's going to be running at the same speed in the same direction. Yeah. That's in a classroom, you can say that.
Yeah.
What's the reality?
Yeah.
Because we're dealing with human beings, we're not dealing with machines.
Sure.
I think that's the thing we have to keep sight of.
Yeah, absolutely. So if there was kind of any kind of key takeaways that you think organizations should be doing when it comes to AI, what would they be?
Take a moment to breathe and say, what do I want to get? What's my purpose of AI?
Yeah.
If I take that moment, step back, don't just get swept up in AI, but what's the real reason for introducing it? And if I don't know, then I need to have a conversation with people that do know. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. We've talked about the positives, but like, there are some negatives to AI, particularly around, people can kind of see it as a person. How do you kind of, from a psychological perspective, stop that happening?
I don't think I'll answer it in these few minutes, but you're right, because that's the fear of, when people say, I was talking to somebody recently, and I do insights discovery profiles for people, and I have done for 20 years. Fantastic, great personalities and everything.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for a long time, and they're lovely. They're really useful. And then I was speaking to somebody the other day, and I said to him about it. He said, "Oh yeah," he said, "because I got my profile, so I put it into AI, and it told me what I should be doing." I said, "Okay, yeah, and how's that working for you?" He said, "Well, haven't really done anything, but at least I've got a plan of what I should be doing. And that's the piece I worry about, is you're reliant on a machine
Mm.
that, is it always giving you what you need?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So
because if we both know from looking at AI, it generally agrees with you unless you've preset it to disagree.
yeah,
So it's like, I particularly ChatGPT. Oh my God, it's so sycophantic. It's untrue. Like, here's the dumbest business idea ever. Oh, that's a brilliant idea, James. That's going to make you millions. And yeah,
yeah,
you need to engage your brain. I suppose that's kind of one thing. There is this whole thing about
cognitive.
yeah,
I'm
how AI potentially could make us dumber.
yes.
So we have to be aware of that and not allow it to take over decision making.
And that for me is probably the biggest. Is dumbing down. So if we don't go through a cognitive process,
Mm.
so again back to this, I have the knowledge, but do I understand how to apply it?
Yeah.
And that's the big difference. So loads of people know stuff, but do they know how to apply it?
Well, that's the thing. Like, Dan was talking about vibe coding earlier on. Like, okay, everyone can go and vibe code an app. Will it work? Probably not, because you don't have the knowledge for, as Dan said, you can take a CRM, you can copy it, but the back end infrastructure is not going to work because you have no understanding of the back end infrastructure. So we've to apply that whole cognitive process to everything we do, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, because that's what's helps us make breakthroughs.
Yeah.
If we're reliant on a machine, which is why when people get fearful because they don't know what they don't know,
Exactly.
yeah, and so therefore they go, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So it's for me, that we mustn't dumb down humanity. I know it's a big statement.
Yeah.
We mustn't dumb down humanity.
Yeah.
To be reliant on that giving you the machine. And you when you talk to people, oh, I'll put it in AI. How do you know? How do you know it's the right answer?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Because some people are taking it as gospel.
Yeah.
It's almost like that's their next. I don't know. You used to have an Encyclopedia Britannica, but now it's like it's telling you what to think. Almost.
I remember having them in my house. Like my parents bought them off some sales guy who came in, and they were in the sitting room above the TV. And if I was doing like any kind of research for school or anything,
You look it up, or you speak to people and you ask, and I think that's what we have to be careful of.
Yeah. It's very important that we maintain being human, and as I said earlier, AI we can utilize to amplify, but not replace.
Amplify is perfect for me.
Mm.
I mean, if anything done to an excess becomes unhealthy.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. Well, it's like, with this podcast, we interview people. You're never going to see an avatar replacing me, because that's not what this podcast is about. We're talking about humans and how they interact with AI and how AI is changing what they do. So that's very much been our philosophy. And we try and get beyond the hype, because, my God, there's so much of it. So it's really kind of been insightful to get a view of the kind of human psychology side of things. So, Stephen, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. And